Alright, team, so we're back, of course, to talk about some Final Fantasy IX. We are, of course, discussing the Final Fantasy IX Remake, something that's been a topic of discussion for pretty close to 2 years now. I think it was sort of around summer or early fall of 2021 where this rumor started happening for a 9 Remake. Now, we haven't actually done a video for the 9 Remake in, I think, quite some time at this point, because we've been kind of focusing on Rebirth, obviously, for a while now. A little bit of 16 as well. But there's been, kind of confirmation of this game existing for a bit, as far back as, a month ago, I would say. Jeff Grubb kind of confirmed it. I'm surprised we didn't talk about that. I must have not seen it. Gamatsu had talked about it. I want to say, Jason Schreier might have also confirmed it at some point. But more recently, which we're over here to talk about now, Jeff Grubb has kind of, doubled down on the 9 Remake being real, but also kind of giving us a bit of details on it. Here's what I'll say, though, before we hop into it. I don't exactly know where Jeff Grubb confirmed this or said this exactly, because the oldest source I can find is this Reddit post right here, which we're going to read over in a second, from 2 days ago. There's only 2 articles covering this right now, so I'm not 100% where it was. If it was one of his long-ass, a podcast, hour-long videos. So I don't know. I don't know exactly where he said this at. And unfortunately, his most recent, Giant Bombcast or whatever doesn't have timestamps, so I'm not going to sit there and watch an hour-long video. Whatever. So anyways, this person says, gaming journalist Jeff Grubb mentioned some SE games from the leaked list in his recent blog show, including FF9R, almost said 7R. He added, the game is on its way. He also said that although this is a remake of FF9, it can't compare to the scale of Final Fantasy VII Remake. A better analogy would be the difference between Crisis Core FF7 and FF7R. The gameplay will still use the ATB turn-based system, and the game won't change much overall. It won't be as mind-blowing as FF7R, but it will still feel good, not just a simple HD remaster. So kind of a lot to unpack there. If everything that's said there is something that Jeff Grubb actually did say, and it's all true, this is the most we've known about the 9 Remake so far. Because one of the questions I've had for the longest goddamn time is, what is it exactly in terms of a remake? Is it to the scale of 7 Remake, or is it just a from the ground up remake, just kind of visual overhaul of the original 9? It's still going to look similar, and it's going to play the exact same. It's just kind of a visual overhaul, essentially. They might tweak some stuff, balance some stuff, whatever. That's a completely different conversation. But it would still look like the 9 that you know, just way better. Kind of like the Memoria project, essentially. And at least according to what we read there, it seems to be the latter, as in them just maybe visually overhauling the game. I've said in the past, I'm not super against them adding new stuff. If they wanted to make a game to the scale of 7 Remake with the 9 Remake, and they want to add to the world and the narrative and the story and added additional shit, I wouldn't totally be against that. I don't know if we want to go plot ghost shit route or whatever. I don't know if we want all that, but I wouldn't mind them adding to the world in terms of adding more side quests and characters and story. That wouldn't be a problem to me, but I doubt that that's what we're getting. And according to what we read as well, they're going to keep the ATB kind of turn-based system, so to speak, which is perfectly fine. That's what I want. I don't want, I'm fine with, the modern Final Fantasies, 7 Remake and 16. Those combat systems are fine. I don't want that for, a 9 Remake. I don't want every game to be doing this action combat shit. If you're going to remake, these older Final Fantasy games, you got to, I think if you want to appease the most fans, you just keep the combat system the same, right? I don't want to be smashing the square button to attack was it on. Get out of here. And the comparison that was used in what we read was, Crisis Core Reunion. The comparison from, Reunion to Remake, that's kind of the difference in, the graphics, I suppose, what they're saying here. So that we can expect, the 9 Remake to look, I guess, more like Crisis Core Reunion, which it looks great, especially when you compare it to the original Crisis Core. It's not quite to the level that I'd want, because I think, the Memoria project, from what we've seen of it, looks better than Crisis Core Reunion in a lot of ways. And I would hope for at least Square Enix's remake of 9 to be on par with, Memoria project, if not better. And by the way, of course, I'm not saying that Crisis Core Reunion looks bad, because it does not. It's just, I feel the detail in what we've seen of the Memoria project is just a little bit higher, if that makes any sense. And actually, speaking of Crisis Core Reunion, something that I kind of want for the 9 Remake that I hadn't really thought of until now is voice acting. I feel that'd be a really good way to remake it. Keep the game exactly the same, overhaul the visuals, of course, update some stuff here and there, and then add in voice acting, which is something that I really appreciated with Reunion, where they fully voiced the game. Obviously, there was voice acting in the original game, but there's only certain stuff, right? And then, fully voicing the game, I think, was a nice touch. It's actually something we talked about for the Final Fantasy VIII Remaster a couple years ago. There was actually, a rumor going around that there would be voice acting in the game, and that would have been awesome, to be honest. Obviously, that never happened, and since this isn't a remaster, this is a remake, right? They're remaking Final Fantasy IX. There's not really a reason they couldn't add voice acting into it. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would disagree with me on the concept of voice acting for a 9 Remake, but if they're remaking the game from the ground up, I just think it kind of makes sense. Maybe the game doesn't have to be, fully voiced, but, maybe certain scenes, cut scenes, the main cast at least, something like that. Something else I wouldn't mind, too, is them updating the cinematics in the game, because they're visually insane, right? They're so fucking mind-blowing, especially for their time. And they don't look bad even by a modern standards, but it would be nice if they could update them. It's kind of something I wonder with Crisis Core Reunion. I'm not even sure if they did update them. Like, obviously they updated like the Buster sorting cutscenes, but like I've always thought Zack looked weird in the cutscenes in Crisis Core. And they didn't change that when it came to Reunion. So like when you're seeing him in cinematics and Reunion versus like what he looks like in FF7 Remake, it's just astronomically different. They just look like completely different characters. So part of me was hoping they would have updated his character model for the cinematics, but they didn't. So he still looks like weird ass PSP Zack. And I just feel like with 9 Remake, they could like overhaul these visuals to make them even better. Like they look great, right? They already look fantastic, but they can make them even better by today's standards with like modern graphics. And seeing Queen Braun's fat ass in like 4K or whatever, like yeah, I want that. And like what we just seen earlier too, right? Odin destroying Clara. Like that is a fantastic scene. One of the most memorable scenes for me in the Final Fantasy series. I can't imagine seeing that in like 4K. Like I want to see that shit, dude. That's more or less the video, my dudes. As for why we haven't uploaded in like a week or so, in case you don't follow me on social media, we just had like a problem with the channel. The old video got like copyright claimed or some shit. And when that happens, when you get like a strike on your channel for that type of shit, like you can't upload for a week. And that's unfortunately what happened. It's just some old video I don't even remember uploading, like whatever the fuck. Who knows? Like YouTube is just dumb as shit. So we were uploading on the second channel in case you guys don't subscribe to that channel. We were kind of putting a couple videos out there just to have something going. But that is indeed the end of the video, my dude. Subscribe to you guys. Our new social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidYT. That's it. Bye. Or you guys could like follow me on Threads or whatever. That's the new hot thing, isn't it? I have no idea how much I'm going to use this damn thing, but figured I'd hop on the trend.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.